Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Flux Motorsport TV. We are at the Long Beach Street Circuit once again for tonight's Flux American Sports Car Championship Round 3 here at Long Beach. We've got two races on the schedule tonight with the GTE and followed by the LMP2 classes. Going to get you kicked off here with the GTE class. I'm your host tonight, Carlin Hicks, and as we head into the third round of 8 in the 5th season of Flux's Sports Car Championships, the GTE and LMP2 classes here on the American Tour are going to be just competitive and as hot as ever. At the moment, we have 11 starters sitting on the grid. We expect possibly a couple of late arrivals. Let me get my notes together. All right. As always, here in the Flux competition on the Flux Sports Car Championships, we've got a 20-minute qualifying session followed by a 45-minute feature race, and we expect everything just as hot here on the Flux American Tour at Long Beach. Last night, the Flux IndyCar Championship ran here, and we had a barn burner. McToasty took home a win for the second straight season at Long Beach with a masterful drive through a field that saw a multitude of leaders fall by the wayside. The race was broadcast on Flux Motorsport TV, and we recommend you checking it out. But let's give you the rundown here through this field as they're running in the points. As we see Stoltz showing up, glad to see the South African driver making the field. But for the Flux Sports Car Championship Season 5 GTE class, coming in as your points leader is the, of course, legendary Bruce Law, winningest sports car driver in Flux's history. Got 4 class championships in the Flux Sports Car Championships. He also has a series record 28 wins across the various classes. That includes his 28th win, which came 2 weeks ago in the season opener at Daytona. Masterful run by Bruce, led almost the entire way on his way to that victory. And then came last week. As we check out his results last week, Willow Springs, as always, a very difficult track out in the desert, and Bruce couldn't get that Aston Martin up as far as he wanted. Probably took some damage. That race was not broadcast. Bruce ended up with a 4th place finish, and nonetheless, that was putting him in to the lead with 61 points after the first 2 rounds of 8 in the championship. He's going to be looking to get back on track here right now. Looks like Bruce is already taking on a little bit of damage for that Aston Martin. Well, let's cycle back to the guy currently second. And that is the Corvette, the factory Corvette of factory Corvette. That is the green and black Motorsport Corvette Flux Motorsport. Dealing with some sound difficulties in the booth, but it's pick back up where we left off. Currently running second in the points. That is Togo Mojo in the Alistair Corvette. The veteran drivers had a couple of real solid results this season. He ran second last week at Willow Springs and was third in the opener at Daytona. So with 2 podium finishes, he's feeling pretty good so far. Just 4 points behind the Flux Sports Car legend Bruce Law in the championship after 2 rounds, and that makes this race in round 3 at Long Beach extra pivotal. Pogo's been a hard luck guy. He does have, as we said before, a major win in one of the Rally Special Event Championships, but he has yet to win in the Flux Sports Car Championship. And today would be a day he'd love to see it. Alright, trying to pick you up here a bit, having some sound difficulties. A little bit of background noise, so you may have to bear with us. Here a bit, having some sound difficulty through the broadcast. We are working on it. We talked about Pogo Mojo in second. Cat Guy sitting third in the points in the factory Corvette. He's only 8 points back. He had a great run. He was second place at Daytona in the season opener. Check out our results here. Followed it up with a 5th place run at Willow Springs last week. 4th place in the points is the defending class champion. That's NZ Jack in the Eggmelt Corvette. He had a tremendous season. In season 4. Last time around, as I said, picked up his first Flux Sports Car Class Championship. In these very GTE cars. Looking through my notes, working the booth solo here tonight. And picked up 3 wins, his 3rd win, in fact, in the Flux Sports Car Championship, coming last week at Willow Springs. So Jack's had himself a decent start to the season already. The win last week at Willow Springs helped make up for a 10th place run in a race he had to do a very big wreck, qualified on the front row. I believe he was the pole sitter, and then went into the turn 1 wall on the first lap as he raced side by side with Pogo. He recovered from that to finish 10th, but has ended up, the win last week was exactly what he needed, as he's moved back up to 4th in the championship. We're going to go 5 deep with the delays this week, and 5th is Taijo. There's a driver who has also won in sports cars, 3 career wins his season so far, with a 7th at Daytona. Not the start he was wanting, but got back on the podium in that Ford GT of his, 69 there. And they're only separated by 16 points across that top 5, just 35 points. That's a single race win payout across the top 8 for the first 2 rounds. So still a lot to race for. Running in 6th is the Australian driver Mark C. in Ferrari. I believe he's the only Ferrari running full time. He's 6th in the championship. Muttley with the other Ford factory drive, currently running 7th in the championship after the first 2 rounds. Survivor in his, I believe Survivor was in a vet last season, if I'm not mistaken, but he's running a privateer Ford this season. He's currently 8th in the points. Dirt Rally, who's not here, is 9th in the points, and just piddling in that McCool number 50 Corvette, sitting 10th in the points. But with 4 minutes to go in qualifying here at Long Beach in the 3rd round of the Flux Motorsport Sports Car Championships for Season 5 here. As I said, we've got 2 races tonight. The GTEs will be followed by the LMP2 class. And after last night's IndyCar race, in which we saw a combination of masterful driving and carnage, I would not be the least bit surprised to see much of that here as the Flux American Tour brought us to Long Beach this weekend. We've also got the Australian Tour coming here, 8 p.m. Australian time. Double check your conversions there. Sunday, that's roughly about 10 hours from now the Flux V8 Supercar Championship will be running right here in Long Beach. So it's been a big race weekend here on the streets of Long Beach for Flux, and we're just getting started right now. But right now, with 3 minutes to go, looks like our field is locked in. We've got 13 cars in the field. NZ Jack, the pole sitter at Daytona, the winner last week at Willow, he has a fairly comfortable 0.4 of a second on Bruce Law, who's still trying to get that factory Aston Martin car up to the front. He's taking a little bit of a bang up here in the qualifying session. Pogo Mojo, meanwhile, we said consistency, second at Daytona, third at Daytona, second here at Willow Springs last week, has him second in the championship, and he's not far behind, but a little bit more separation than I'd expect to see, over a second back to just fourth. But that's in qualifying trim. We have to put that together for 45 minutes in the midst of heavy and competitive traffic. Just piddling right now, getting that McCool's Chevrolet. These teams are going to have a lot of work to do in between sessions. Taijo up to fifth. We said 3 career wins in the Flux Sports Car Championships. I believe they are all in GTEs, if I'm not mistaken. When I refer to the Flux Sports Car Championships, I'm referring to any of the prototype or GT cars, traditional Le Mans class cars, LMPs, GT1s, GT3s, GTEs, touring cars, open wheelers. Those would all be considered a separate discipline, at least in terms of how we're referring to it on the broadcast. But it looks like we still got some guys struggling for speed. Cracked piston. Take a look at the timings. Got grid penalties near the back. I'm sure these are guys that came out of the pit lane too fast. Cracked piston, the Australian, and looks like Hoffman crew in the blue and white Ford GT, another Ford factory driver. A rookie here on the circuit, just looking to try to make his way around. But as we get into the final minute, does anybody have a challenge for NZ Jack in that number 5 egg melt Corvette? As we said, he's been quick this season. Qualified on the pole, got in that first lap accident at Daytona and managed just a 10th place finish, but came back and won at Willow Springs last week. So he is right back up to 4th in the championship. Dane Wilding checking in again. And to answer his question, he's asking, what would you say is the most balanced GTE car? I always prefer the Corvette. Love taking questions from the viewers. I think the consensus among most of the drivers is that the Corvette is the most balanced between power and aerodynamics. The Ford GTs are considered to be more aerodynamic, maybe a little less in terms of muscle, whereas a Ferrari or a Porsche is considered an aerodynamic, suited for tight European tracks. So I think there's a lot of guys running in GTs. That's why the Corvette has been the dominant mark over the last couple of seasons in the Flux Sports Car Championships among the GTE class, is the balance that the Corvette brings. And there are some big challenges. As we said, Bruce Law, the winningest Flux driver in various sports car championships through the 5 seasons, is running a factory Aston Martin. You got Mark C in a Ferrari. You got a number of factory Fords with Taijo, Muttley, bringing on Hoffman crews, trying to show some stuff. But it doesn't look like anybody's going to improve it. All right, so we're going to give you the starting lineup for the Flux Motorsport Sports Car Championships GTE class Season 5, Round 3 at Long Beach. On the pole for at least the second time this season. I'm not sure if he was last week at Willow. It's NZ Jack with a blistering 114.7. He will be followed by the legend himself, Bruce Law, in the Aston Martin. Qualifying third will be Pogo Mojo, top American driver, in his Corvette, and he's followed by another Yank just piddling, also in a privateer Corvette. Taijo will be starting 5th in the factory Ford GT. OGR Cat Guy, the veteran, will be in his factory Corvette starting 6th. Mark C in the Ferrari will be starting 7th. Green Gaming in the factory Ford is 8th. Muttley, another one of the Fords, is 9th. Survivor in a Ford GT is 10th. Stoltz in his, I believe that's a Ford GT, he is going to be starting 11th. Cracked Piston will be starting 12th in, I believe, in Aston. Hoffman Crew is in a Ford GT, and that is the shotgun on the field. All right, little break from normal standards. Of course, all the races on the Flux American Tour use a rolling start. But what we're looking for here is at Long Beach, with the potential for, the obvious potential for carnage. These cars will be taking a formation lap here at the start, and it will be a single file start here at the lights in an effort to keep it clean. It will be a single file start at the light. So now's the time, guys, as the crews get the cars ready. Let us know your picks here in the Flux Sports Car Championships Round 3, both for tonight's GTE and later on's LMP2 round. We got the legend Bruce Law, 28 career wins in the Flux Sports Cars, coming in second. But NZ Jack has been the emerging driver. He won this class championship a season ago. He's got his third career win last week. He's definitely on a high, and he just won the pole here at Long Beach. So you got to believe that he feels like he has a shot at taming the beast, so to speak. But Long Beach, those of you who watched last night will recall that Long Beach came down to who had the cleanest drive. McToasty picked up his second win in the Indy cars at Long Beach by just coming through the field, staying clean. There were a number of leaders who wrecked out from the lead. And I think, honestly, although these cars obviously aren't as fragile as an Indy car, it's very tough to say what we're going to end up seeing. All right, so we've got a formation lap. NZ Jack from New Zealand leading us off. As always, an international field here in the Flux Motorsports Sports Car Championships. Third round of 8. The LMP2s to follow. Next week, these cars will head to the Brickyard, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, on the road course for what should be an absolute barn burner. As I'm trying to get the little one distracted here, all of a sudden she's interested in handling the controller. But as they come around, they're going to be waiting for the lights, and it'll be damn the torpedoes from right where they are. We appreciate that. Dane Wilding giving us props for Flux TV. Make sure you join us, Dane, and anybody else watching. You go to it as you see it. There should be links on YouTube, fluxmotorsport.com. You sign up through our Discord. We do all of our business through the Discord of our variety of championships. Indy cars, multi-classes of sports cars, touring car championships with F1 and NASCAR in development, hopefully. Fingers crossed. Things looking good here in Flux Season 5. They're coming down the back straight towards Turn 9, and it was Turn 8 that we saw the unfortunate O'Brien crash out with a sizable lead with just 7 minutes to go in the IndyCar race last night. If they open the door, these cars going to start closing in now on each other as they go through the Turn 11 hairpin. And they're going to be waiting for the lights. NZ Jack to lead us. Car is just about out of the hairpin, but we are underway. It's going to be a clean start with some good separation. Jack getting off to the good lead. Bruce Law right behind him. 3, 4, and 5. Going in. Let's get to the world. Ooh, and it looks like Jack kisses the wall a little bit there. Get into the world's greatest drone driver. Onboard Pogo in third. see how these guys separate. What they're looking at right in front of them. Looking at the battle there as Taijo tries to move inside. Oh, Mark can't get it done. That's Ferrari versus Ford, and this is going to take some time to sort itself out. Meanwhile, up front, still Jack leading Bruce Law in second. Pogo's in third. Just Pidlin's coming up in fourth. Cat Guy's in fifth. And right there, the battle for sixth. Mark trying to block Taijo off as they head into turn 9, 10, 11. Somebody into the wall, and I believe that is Muttley. It's the car reset on the track, but he doesn't look too bad, but it was up on its side there in turn 9. So we'll hope that he didn't bang that car up too much. I don't see him coming into the pits. And we'll hope that Muttley's turning out okay here. Got a couple of early penalties, and is that a 20-second penalty on Jack? But I've got to believe that might be from the start of the race, and we're going to probably have a steward's review on that one. If it was from the start, using a special start, I can almost be certain to you that that would be wiped away by the marshals. But we don't want to speculate right now. 20 seconds when he's been perfectly clean has to be something on the start, and using that start just to avoid the carnage we were expecting here at Long Beach, I would imagine that that's likely a penalty that may not stand. If that is the case, we'll see, but Bruce Law is all over him in the battle for the lead. They've got about 3 seconds back to Pogo as he's got just Pidlin on his tail. Cat Guy, Taijo settled in as he did get by Mark in the battle for 6th. Survivor has moved up into 8th. Stoltz right behind him in the Ford in 9th. Green Gaiman's in 10th. Muttley's in 11th. We do have a car, the second Aston Martin of Cracked Piston, is in the pit lane getting extensive repairs. He has obviously already wadded that one up. And it looks like Hoffman Crew's having trouble there in the Ford, number 9, in the Fountain Complex, just trying to get the car rolling. I think he'll be clear after this car. And he is, finally gets it going, but he's losing a ton of time there, so unfortunate for him. All right, let's get on board the cockpit of just Pidlin. This is a Corvette versus Corvette. American muscle, American driver battle for 3rd place. Pogo qualified and just Pidlin was just behind him. These guys pretty much where they started. Come off turn 11 there, just trying to get the power down as best you can. Hoping to get enough separation. To be able to make a move, but you also don't want to throw it away. It's very early. We're less than 5 minutes into this. Thing. Anybody who ran last night, just Pidlin was one of them, finished second here in the IndyCar race last night, knows the value of being patient. You can see him working, just trying to you got to keep the tires on it. Most of these guys are going to try to go the full distance without pitting, if possible. And if you're going to do that, you've got to keep the tires on it. And Pidlin is all over Pogo right now. Cracked Piston still in the pits getting those repairs. Let's take a look at some of the battles a little farther back here. Taijo and Mark, Ford versus Ferrari. right there in the battle for 6th. These are two guys definitely looking to move up in the championship. Mark 6th in the championship, Taijo 5th. Both of these guys considered championship contenders, but haven't really got the results they've looked for. They've stayed close enough in the first 2 rounds, but they need a big one here at Long Beach. Taijo hanging out that Ford. But Mark in that Ferrari just stalking him. As we still have all 13 cars on the track here in the early going, crack piston in the pits getting extensive repairs. We'll hope he can get back out and continue. A little further back, Stoltz 44 and Survivor, a pair of Fords battling for 8th place. It looks like Stoltz a little more pace on that last lap. Starting to get a few laps under him now, working 6th. We'll see if they can, where the pace is settling in at. Green Gaiman also not far back in his Ford GT. And Muttley, I don't know if he has a problem. He did not come into pit, but he fell all the way back to the last car currently on the lead lap in 11th. So he may have had some kind of problem with that car. See if those laps come back up. All right, these three are on top of each other. I think we'll put the camera on the second car here in Taijo, but we've got Cat Guy in the Chevy in 5th, Taijo in the Ford GT in 6th, and Mark in the Ferrari in 7th, all battling here for 5th. They're running slightly. Ooh, big wreck. Big wreck. Just piddling, went into the wall, it looks like in turn 8 up ahead. He definitely got hit there by Mark. Did Taijo get it? Doesn't look like Taijo and Cat Guy hit it, but Mark couldn't get through. Looks like Piddlin had a problem. He's got that vet running back again. Looks like Piddlin had a problem running there in 4th place. The first 2 cars in line avoided him, but Mark wasn't fortunate enough to do it. We'll have to see if he's got damage to the car. And motor trouble for Cat Guy, and it looks like the factory Corvette of Cat Guy running in 5th place has disconnected. As we said, we call that motor trouble. Looks like Stoltz bringing that Ford onto the pit lane, as is Mark and Muttley. Each one of these cars getting caught up in wrecks on the backstretch, crab walking it down the pit lane. And these 3 guys are all going to need some extensive repairs to their cars as Long Beach starts off on its attrition button especially bad. We'll hopefully see if Cat Guy will get into the booth here with us. Perhaps we can get a word from Cat Guy about what went on there, but his motor just disconnected. Or as we like to say, your internet is part of your motor, so that's a blown motor, and that's going to really hurt Cat Guy's quest in the championship as he came in. As we said, he came in 3rd in the championship, just 8 points behind Bruce Law. All right, meanwhile, up front, it is still Corvette versus Aston Martin. NZ Jack from the pole leading Bruce Law. They're starting to come through some traffic, however, as we are still very, very early. 8 laps in, 10 minutes, less than 10 minutes on the board. And Bruce Law just tracking with that Aston Martin as we're starting to see some of the separation. Cars getting damaged. We've given Mark the unfortunate nickname of Hard Luck Mark, because he's a quick driver who seems to get caught up in stuff like that doesn't seem to be his fault. And that's a great example. Just Piddlin had trouble in turn 8, the same corner that a couple of guys had trouble in last night in the Indy cars. He obviously was stuck there with those guys right behind him coming up, and the first 2 cars were able to miss it, but not Mark. So far we still have 12 running on the track of the 13 starters. Cat Guy, hopefully get him into the broadcast booth whenever he gets back into the pit lane. Getting in-race pit reports from Hoffman crew as he's down on the pit lane, using it as a test session, really, for the which is a good thing for the rookie driver. Comes in, he's going to fix the car, try some things out, get back out, and try to turn some laps, and he's been giving us frequent reports here, and might be able to steal some positions. He's a few laps down, but there's going to be more. There's definitely going to be more moving forward. Still 7 cars on the lead lap with just piddling at the end there. Doesn't look like, see what his lap is here. He run a 117, so it doesn't look like getting hit by Mark did much damage to him, but it did plenty of damage to Mark. Oh, we got Bruce Law into the wall there in turn 8. And I don't know if that involves another car. Do we see anybody else? Pogo's got a little bit of front end damage, so you've got to wonder if possibly those two, were they involved there in turn 8? But that is going to be a major development here, as I don't think that car is going to drive. That's some major front end damage for the 4-time class champion in the Flux Sports Car Championships, and it looks like Bruce is going to have to pull it into the pits here with the points lead. Came into this race with the points lead, so that's 2 of the top 3 running into trouble. Bruce is going to try to salvage whatever he can. I would imagine he still has a shot, even with extensive repairs, at least getting into the top 5 if he can have a relatively quick repair. But that was some pretty severe damage. Pogo also in, didn't see it, don't know if those 2 guys got into it with each other or just happened upon each other's accident. But both of them are going to have to make extensive repairs, and that right there, folks, is the front 3 guys in the championship. One has blown them as a blown motor and will DNF this week, and the other 2, 1 and 2, have come in and suffered what's going to be extensive repairs. So that's going to throw everything out of whack here with last week's winner at Willow Springs, NZ Jack, out in front. Now, as I said before, we're speculating on some of the timing penalties here, as the results would be unofficial there. Pogo's got a 10-second penalty. I think he picked that one up just going into the pits, damaged too fast. But NZ Jack has that 20-second penalty, and my guess there is that that may have had to do with the start, as we had them out single file. We've had problems with the AI officiating there on some of the rolling starts, but the officials determined last night at IndyCar, tonight as well, that having them single file was going to be better than trying to have them rolling off together double wide and being let go whenever the AI let the drivers go. So what we were hoping to see, that's the only reason I can see possibly that he would have a 20-second penalty at this point. So that is something that, if it factors into the margin of the race, he could definitely see a protest on, and I would think that it would be disregarded. But at the moment, with Bruce Law running into his trouble, Jack has just come out and opened it up. He now has 20 seconds on Taijo. And I am correct on that. This is the 3rd consecutive pole this week for NZ Jack. So he has won the pole in all 3 races this season in the Flux GTE Championship. At Daytona, last week at Willow Springs, and this week at Long Beach. He, of course, had the rough finish at Daytona, but got the win last week at Willow. But this one's far from over. We're just about to hit the 30-minute mark. 15 minutes gone, 30 minutes to go. And we saw a big lead go away last night in the Indy cars. We saw a couple of big leads go away, so we've got a ways to go. But Jack is in control of this race at this point. 22 seconds behind him. If you look on your map there, the arrows will show you the white cars are the cars in the same lap. That's the distance behind Jack that he is. 22 seconds back in the Ford is Taijo, another 3-time winner in Flux Sports Cars. This is a guy who comes in 4th in the championship, 14 points back, and obviously all 3 of the guys in front of him have had trouble. Cat Guy has DNF'd. Bruce and Pogo are a lap down to the leaders now. And I would think that Taijo he might want to go kamikaze to try to make a run here, but if he can finish in 2nd place, he will gain some significant ground on the drivers in front of him, and that's the nature of Long Beach. But he's got a bit of a gap here. You can see it here on the track, back on the straightaway. In 3rd place now is Survivor from the Privateer Ford team. I believe him and Green Gaiman partnering up there. And Survivor just looking to get a good finish. He came in 8th in points in the first 2 rounds and really needing to make up some ground. And right now, with all the carnage around him, he's running in the 118s at the moment, has the car in 3rd place. And we saw that out of his teammate and partner right behind him, Green Gaiman, in the other team car, the Ford right there. He's in actually a Ford factory ride, is Green Gaiman. He ran 5th place last night in the Indy cars here just by avoiding the carnage. Green Gaiman, I believe, started 13th. I believe he started 13th on the field, 14th on the field last night, and managed a 5th place finish. So keeping yourself out of trouble, and you can definitely move up. And right now, these guys right where they're at. Now, just piddling, hoping to move up. Don't know how damaged that Corvette is after he took that shot in turn 8, but he's currently still in 5th place, 46 seconds down, but he's moving up slowly but surely on Green Gaiman. So he's possibly going to be looking for the chance to move up as well. And that's when we get to the guys who are now a lap down to the field. Pogo Mojo came in 2nd in points in that Corvette. You can see the scars from that accident in turn 8. He's currently running in 6th place. Probably fixed the principles on the car. Aerodynamically, it's probably not great, but they've got everything pointed in the right direction. And he's going to try to salvage what he can. As he said, came in here just 4 points behind Bruce. In the championship, and this being a pivotal race, he's going to hope to possibly pick up a few spots if anybody else has trouble. And as I say, I can't emphasize it enough. Look at the clock. There's 26.5 minutes to go in a 45-minute race. We haven't even hit halfway yet. So there's a lot that can go on. These guys are trying to stretch these cars, trying to run 45 minutes without making a stop. So you've got cars where the fuel load is constantly burning off. And if you don't have the tire, the balance of the car set up right, and those tires burn off, you see what happened to O'Brien last night in the Indy car. Put it in the wall in turn 8 with a big lead. It can happen to even the best of them. It's like I've lost my connection to the YouTube for my feed to read your comments for the moment. Try to get that sorted out. He's got about 12 seconds on Bruce as he seemed to take a little bit less damage. That Aston Martin not looking too great for wear. And it may not be the day for win number 29 for the Flux legend. He got the win at Daytona, of course. Came home 4th place with the fastest lap at Willow Springs last week, and here he is. He's going to be trying to get... This is really, at this point in the race, Bruce is a veteran, and this is a guy who, as I said, he has 4 class championships in the Flux Sports Car Championships. He knows what it's about. And he knows right now that his race is Pogo. He came in with just a 4-point lead on him. He has to beat that car in front of him that he's about 13 seconds behind right now. So that's the guy he's aiming for at the moment. You're going to lose some ground to the guys ahead of you, but just beat the guy that's closest to you. This is exactly what Bruce is going to be thinking. Almost 2 laps. Let me check it. Where's Mark? There he is going through the hairpin. The leader is right behind him. So Mark's still just 1 lap down at the moment in that Ferrari, and he was running so well before he got into that accident in turn 8. We'll be looking forward to seeing him in the V8 Supercar Championship here at Long Beach later on, possibly the LMP2s as well. Dane Wilding was asking, Spency, do you race with Flux? Spency is in fact Hoffman crew, the car running back there, the rookie driver in 12th in that extra Ford GT factory car. That is Hoffman crew giving you the in-race reports there, Dane. He's several laps down at this point. I think maybe he went around. There he goes. There's Hoffman, still puttering around, trying to get a finish out of this, and right there he has a little trouble with the brakes and puts it in the wall in turn 11. We might see him back in the pits getting repaired, but he's been giving us our in-race reports, Dane, at the moment. Mark still hanging on to the lead, to the being 1 lap down. He's got about 13 seconds on Muttley in the Ford, who had his own bit of trouble. Running back in 9th, Stoltz, the South African driver in that Ford GT number 20, a privateer package. He's having another hard luck week. You can see that car looks like the front end's a little cockeyed there, and he's back in 10th, and he is, I believe, 2 laps down. Cracked piston in the second Aston Martin. Had some trouble early, but he's trying to get it back together. He's, I believe, 3 laps down right now. All right, meanwhile, there is a battle for position here between the 2 Fords of Survivor and Green Gaiman. Let's go to Green Gaiman's car and get into the cockpit as this battle for 3rd place heats up between these 2 Ford GT teammates, one of which with factory support. As we are just past the halfway point, cross flags out here in the Flux Sports Car Championships at Long Beach. Remember to stay with us, as we will be back on the air shortly after the conclusion of this race for the next class race of the Flux Sports Car Championships in the LMP2s right back here at the Long Beach Street Circuit. Excuse me. But Hoffman, you're doing a great job. You checked in from the pit, says I suck here. But Hoffman, if you get a finish here, you're going to score some points, and you earn the respect of the competitors when you do that. Fix the car, try something out, put some tires, and get moving. And you earn a lot of respect. Good time now to tell our viewers to remember, check out fluxmotorsport.com, sign up to our Discord. We have Flux Sports Car Championships in a variety of classes, Touring Car Championships, IndyCar Championships, Dirt Rally Championships, NASCAR and F1 in development. Now in our 5th season of competition, and Flux Season 5 here in the GTEs is really heating up. Green Gaiman hanging there with Survivor at the moment. Hey buddy, little man checking in. And just piddling, he's hanging on to the lead lap. Cracked piston's got that Aston Martin back into the pits again. Got to give him some credit here for riding out what's been a tough night. But these two are battling here for 3rd place, Survivor and Green Gaming. Pair of Fords. Matter of fact, 2, 3, and 4 all in Fords with Corvettes around them. But about 20 minutes to go. This race is about attrition and endurance, really. And you can see Survivor taking a look, as I believe that was Hoffman getting out of the way there. He may have ran it off again. Green Gaiman staying right on the gearbox of his partner, the tail, I should say. inside of 20 minutes, so working lap 20, still a long way to go here at Long Beach, but these two staying pretty close and on top of each other. Want to give some seat time to everybody. Go back up front where NZ Jack continues to be our leader, 117.5, 117.8 that last time. We'll see where Ty Joe in second lines up, but it just looks like Jack is, looks like the Flux's answer to Scott Dixon is just cruising right now. You can see that front of that car. Did you see that nose move under braking? Does he have a little bit of front end damage that he's nursing? Because if that's the case, that car's handling will just get worse and worse as the tires will. But yeah, right now he's just, it looks like maybe he's got, that front end doesn't look perfect. So I think maybe he banged it up a little. That could be a factor because we saw guys have trouble before. But otherwise, he's just got to manage the gap ever since he lost Bruce Law as a competitor. For the moment anyway. Ty Joe still cruising in second. He's running with Bruce Law, in fact, who's a lap down on the track. Bruce Law trying to unlap himself in second place, but Ty Joe got a comfortable lead. He's about 17 seconds ahead of, Survivor at the moment. Check the driver list there to answer that question, Hoffman. I'm not sure. Don't believe you're on the full-time LMP2 list, but there may be spots available here this weekend. Usually is a couple of at-large spots left to go. But Ty Joe in second as we're starting to wind down now inside of 17 minutes. This is where you're going to start seeing it inside of 15. The guy's got to keep the tires underneath them. Ty Joe still lapping. You can see the lap time's almost identical with Jack. And as I said before, that 20-second penalty might get wiped, but if Jack finishes more than 20 seconds ahead of the field, then he doesn't even have to worry about having that wipe. But I really don't think that's going to come into factor in this race at all. Survivor and Green Gaiman still going at it there for third as they're running just off the pace of the leaders, although the leaders seem to have trouble, perhaps in traffic that last time. But these two looking for what could be an excellent finish, chance to move up on some of the guys ahead of them in the standings for sure. Still hoping to see Cat Guy possibly get back into the booth with us. I don't know if he's having trouble getting things back up in the garage. Green Gaiman took a look that time. I think this is as good a time as any to get back into that cockpit cam with Green Gaming, as he's definitely looking to get by Survivor and take over third spot as we're getting down to about 15 minutes to go. You can see by the lap times they're running, everybody in that top 7 are pretty much in the same area code. Bruce Law putting up a 16.9. He's obviously put on some hot tires and came out tearing it up, as we got 15 minutes left on the track. Green Gaiman still trying to find the spot where he can get by Survivor, and maybe right there he thought he saw the mistake, but couldn't quite make it happen. Coming out of turn 11, can he get up inside of him? Now it's a drag race. Does he have enough? I don't know. These two are dicing it. Like two guys who are very familiar with racing each other, but they're going to come down into turn 1. And it looks like Green Gamic, if he can hold it, gets a little bump, makes it stick, but here comes Survivor back. A little bump and run. These guys racing like a couple of pros. Green Gamic had the pass. He got the slightest little bump that might have set him offline. I don't think it was an intentional contact, but Survivor took the spot back. But these two putting on a show here for 3rd place. Coming down to turn 8. Very difficult spot. Now another shot here. Down into the turn 9. Can he make a move and try to outbrake him? Doesn't look like it. Green Gamic deciding probably smartly. Let's cool the tires off. Let the tires cool off, settle in, make another run for it here in a few minutes. I think that's the game plan here, as it looks like we have somebody else out, and I believe it was Cracked Piston having trouble with that car all day, and he has, I believe, parked it. So we're down to 11 of the 13 starters still running. But these two just continuing. Don't want to move back. There he goes. Green Gamic makes the move, but again, can't make it stick. It is so hard to make the passes here at Long Beach. But these two are just continuing to go at it. They're just putting on a show right now. You got to say it, what some of the viewers, and it looks like we lost another one, and just piddling. That is going to be a devastating blow to his championship hopes, as he just had a blown motor and will have to roll it back into the garage. So a DNF for just piddling, and we're down to 10 still running out of the 13 starters here in the last 12 minutes. But I'll say what some of the viewers are thinking. Survivor and Green Gamic both have had reputations for piling up the incident points, justified or not. And I think that this right here, what you're watching is these two guys both making the announcement that they can run, they can drive like the pros. Look at them, nose to tail for lap after lap after lap here at Long Beach, and they've pretty much kept it off the wall and off each other. Both cars are in real good shape here. And while we're watching them, it looks like Bruce Law managed to get past Pogo. As we said before, these two guys racing head-to-head as 1 and 2 in the championship. And like we said, when you come to a place like Long Beach, you have some attrition with 3 cars out of the race now. Despite the damage that Bruce and Pogo got, they are now back up to 5th and 6th. So they're battling for 5th place points here, and they're both going to get decent points days despite the race not going. Just piddling, checking in and saying, problems in the GTEs, as he has more motor trouble with his Corvette. He says disconnected again in the GTEs. I think you have a motor problem, Piddlin. We'll have to talk to those Corvette reps. Talk to those Corvette reps and see what can be done about that. But meanwhile, as I said, Bruce trying to hold off Pogo there for 5th place. Quick run up here, as you can see, Jack still holding on, and still maintaining the gap here over Ty Joe in the Ford, who's running in 2nd. That's Mark a lap down, a couple laps down, running with him. But the big battle here is that one. Continues to be the battle for 3rd, Survivor versus Green Gamic. These two sometime teammates. You know they don't want to flush it away, that's for sure. Some of the cars that have had trouble, they have a chance both to get very good finish, but each of them wants to stand on the podium. Each of them wants to get that podium finish. as we've got Hoffman back on the pit lane. And these guys are coming up through some traffic now as we are inside of 10 minutes to go here in the GTEs at Long Beach. Remember, we will be followed by the LMP2s. But these two staying at it. NZ Jack and Taijo continuing to pace the field up front. But as I said, these guys making a statement here. Their lap times, when not in traffic, have been competitive with the leaders. And they've done this lap after lap and not banged up. And we're inside of 10 minutes. These tires are worn out. Fuel could be a factor, although I doubt it here. Most of these guys will have had plenty of fuel. They'll be able to make it on fuel just fine. It's keeping the tires underneath you. And as these two continue to go nose to tail, Survivor in the front there in the red and white, Green Gaming in the red and blue 67 there, the EcoBoost car. But both of them, if they can just hang where they're at, they're both going to get a great finish for them here today. But I think they're looking for, each one of them wants to be the one on the podium, let's put it that way. We want to get right back to that battle here towards the conclusion of the race. But let's give guys a rundown once again. NZ Jack running there out front. You can see him coming into turn 11. He's got a 22-second lead on Taijo in the Ford. Survivor and Green Gaming continuing their battle in third and fourth. Bruce Law is a lap down but has fought his way back up to fifth in that banged up Aston Martin. Pogo about 9 seconds back in that banged up vet in sixth. Mark C's got the Ferrari running a couple laps down in seventh. Muttley, the Ford, 2 laps down in eighth. Stoltz is, I believe, 3 laps down in his privateer Ford. And several laps down, but still running, is Hoffman crew. So these guys looking to get top 10 points and get on to the finish. Got to finish the score. And it looks like Hoffman's shedding parts. So that means there's going to be a front nose assembly in the Ford GT up there in turn 1. Let's see who's coming through there. Looks like Taijo just made it through that section. So it doesn't look like that debris causing a problem. These guys, look at those lap times. You'll see as these guys cross the line too. Still in the 118s, 117 for Taijo. These guys have got these cars hooked up. They've got it so that the tire wear is not outpacing the fuel burn. As Green Gaming looks to put the move on there in turn 1. Can't quite get it done again. But these guys have these cars set up so that the fuel burn off, they're just getting faster and faster, and it's keeping their lap times. Look at those lap times. We've seen virtually no fall off from the beginning of the race, even with the accelerated softer tire compounds that Flux uses. We're still not seeing it. We've got some questions here, some comments as we're watching. Mick Toasty making the last night's IndyCar winner, saying Green Gaming has really been improving over his Flux career. He has no doubt. Has a second place finish in the IndyCar Championship a couple seasons back. He was fifth. And he is absolutely taking the steps to move forward. Dane Wilding asking us, in a battle for position, would you rather be the lead or the following driver? That's usually a very nuanced answer, Dane, but at Long Beach, I think it's a simple one. You want to be the lead driver, which is Survivor right here in the front car. You feel more comfortable being able to defend, as we're about to hit 5 minutes to go here at Long Beach. You want to be the defender because you can drive a defensive line and be conservative. The other guy's got to take the chances. And that's the reason. Now, if we're talking, Indianapolis Motor Speedway or Daytona or something, it could be a different story. Even a place with a big front straightaway, Fuji, something like that. just piddling, as we said, checking in. Second motor problem in 3 races this season in the GTE, so he's definitely having problems with that vet. But these two still right on top of each other. Can Green Gaiman make the move? That's the big question. Is he risking too much if he does? These guys have a good finish. They don't want to bang the car up. They've got about 28 seconds on Bruce Law back in 5th.
4 minutes to go.
As we said, sim racing, your internet is your motor, in essence, and that's why we call them blown motors. It's heartbreaking. We've seen 2 of them tonight with Cat Guy and Just Fiddling, and those are 2 guys who are both championship contenders. Up front, Jack just continues to cruise. He's coming through some traffic, but that's all he has to do. Stay out of trouble. As we said, I don't think that 20-second penalty is going to come in, but he's got more than a 20-second lead at the moment over Taijo behind him. Bruce Law with that recovery drive there. Ooh, as he's hanging out that banged up Aston Martin. As we said, you get it fixed, come back out. He's gotten it all the way back up to 5th, and I don't know if he'll maintain the points lead after this week, but he's mitigated a lot of the damage. If you can manage to get a top 5 when you had the type of damage he had, that's the reason he's a 4-time Flux Sports Car champion and the winningest driver in the sports cars. It's because he does stuff like that. He knows how to recover, knows how to make a smart recovery drive. But we want to see that battle here. Maybe chase cam, get our fast moving drone on Green Gaiman as he's still trying to line up Survivor. I think falling back there, if it wasn't for a mistake, he might just be cooling the tires and wanting to make one more run at it. As we are inside of 2.5 minutes, just about to hit the 2-minute mark, working lap 34. These guys still running in the 117, so they have got the balance of these cars hooked up. Tire wear not really a big problem for them at all. Survivor hanging on to it in 3rd. This would be a magnificent finish for him. Tough track like Long Beach, these guys really can make a statement here, as they have been as fast as the leaders for most of this race. This is not a fluke that they're up here. Green Gaiman needs to close it in. They've got maybe 2 more laps. See where Jack is at. I believe he's going to take the white flag here, yeah. It looks like we're going to see the white flag come out for NZ Jack in the lead here. Final lap at Long Beach. He has had another masterful drive, 3rd straight pole position on the season. If he hangs on here on the last lap, he'll pick up his 2nd win in succession and his 4th career Flux Sports Car Championship victory. Had a battle with Bruce early on when Bruce got damaged. He has just sunk into a conservative mode. You can see him hanging the car a little bit there. But he has managed to do another masterful run. As I said, looking here would be his 2nd win of the season, his 4th of his career in the Flux Sports Cars. And he is the defending champion in the class. He had a masterful performance last season. 2 victories on his way to the championship. And it looks like he's going to match that win total here as NZ Jack from New Zealand brings that Corvette Privateer entry around for the final time. And there is going to be your winner, NZ Jack, here at Long Beach. Taijo behind by a bit there. Bangs it into the wall a little bit. He's having trouble keeping that car together. as he's going to try to bring it home here in second place. I don't know if he's going to beat that 20-second penalty and whether or not that's going to end up being something else to talk about. But meanwhile, last chance here for Green Gaiman as these guys coming into turn 8. This is what we've been watching. Story of the race as these two have been battling for third the whole way. Does Green Gaiman have a shot at him through the 9, 10, and 11 complex? Survivor moves to the inside, takes a defensive line. Green Gaiman tries to slide in, but I don't think he's going to have the switch pack. Survivor's got the preferred line. Do we have a drag race? I don't think so. I think Survivor gets off turn 11 and he's going to hang on to third place and be on the podium. And we're going to see, as I believe that's scored out the way it should. So there are your final results for the Flux Motorsport Season 5 Sports Car Championships Round 3, the GTEs here at Long Beach. Your winner is NZ Jack. Just a masterful performance. Took the pole, led all the way, picks up his second win in succession. Taijo takes the Ford GT to a solid second place run, rounding out the podium. Great drive for Survivor in his Ford to finish third. There'd be followed by Green Gaming with a good run into fourth. Bruce Law with a recovery drive brings it back home in fifth. Pogo Mojo will finish sixth in his Corvette. Mark C gets the Ferrari up to seventh. Muttley's going to finish eighth in the Ford GT. Stoltz gets his Ford up to ninth, and Hoffman crew several laps down but gets the finish, ends up in 10th place. Cracked Piston retiring at the end there as he had major damage. We had 13 starters, 10 cars running at the finish, so another great show here at Long Beach. We want to remind you we'll be returning here momentarily for the Flux LMP2 Championship. Should be coming back up in about 15-20 minutes. We'll ask you to join us for that. Meanwhile, I want to say congratulations once again to NZ Jack, victor here in the GTEs at Long Beach. Carlin Hicks will be back with you soon.